Hey everyone, it's Elaine. Today's video, I'm going to go ahead and cover um, the relationship between cognitive distortions and growing up in a religious cult. So for instance, I grew up in the Iglesia ni Cristo, which is a predominantly Filipino church, and it does promote Black and white thinking as well as other cognitive distortions. So when I say cognitive distortions, it's like a fancy words for saying disordered thinking. It's like an error in the way that you process information and the way that your brain thinks and the way that your brain is wired. People are prone to cognitive distortions to some degree, but you don't have to like be born in a cult to have this type of thinking. Sometimes people just are prone to thinking this way. But when you do grow up in a cult and this type of thinking is promoted and taught regularly, weekly, for years and years, it can be ingrained in your neural circuitry, the way you think, and then it can seep into other areas of your life, like your romantic relationships, your work, your just life in general, and it can cause problems and issues in your romantic relationships, in your workplace, and it can kind of hinder and stall you from growing. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen in a little bit, but I just wanted to give you like an like a overview of what Black and white thinking is. So one of the root doctrines of the Iglesia ni Cristo, right, is you need to have membership in order to be saved. So an example of a Black and white thought, or fancier terms, dichotomous thinking, is if I'm a member of the church, then I will be saved. Um, what else? If I'm not a member of the church, then I won't be saved and I won't go to heaven, right? So that promotion is very black and white. Everyone outside of the church is not going to be saved. You have to have at least some membership in the church in order to be saved, is what I was taught as a young child. So I'll go ahead and share my screen now. Let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys. Mm, let's see here. Okay, got it. So let me go ahead and pull this up. So a lot of religious cults or cults in general promote cognitive distortions. And I remember I said earlier, cognitive distortions is disordered thinking. It's an error in the way that you process information and that you think, which can hinder you in a lot of ways. So when I was referring to black and white thinking earlier, um, it's also called all or nothing thinking. So it's only there's two extremes, no room for thinking and considering the gray area. So all or nothing thinking. Cults teach black and white thinking, such as everyone outside the group is controlled by Satan or is evil. The leader is God and cannot make mistakes. You must always strive for perfection in order to reach the group's goal. Such thinking stifles personal growth and keeps a person pitted against the rest of the world. Um, so subconsciously, when you're hearing these messages and these doctrines in the religious cult that you were growing up in, those messages get internalized subconsciously in your mind, and then they affect you in a lot of ways, your mind, your body, your spirit, right? And then that results in how you behave in the world, how you interact with other people in the world. So another way this can manifest is just by interacting with other people in the world. So this might look like you are talking to someone, right? You're getting to know them, whether it's a friend or a romantic partner, right? And they haven't texted you in a day. And the only thought that you have, the predominant thought is, oh my God, they're mad at me. Oh my God, they don't like me anymore. And then you fixate on that thought and you ruminate, and it could cause anxiety and depression. Where we try to fix all or nothing thinking is we have to explore the gray area. But when you've been wired to think this way for so long, sometimes like your emotional reactivity, like you just automatically think that way because that's how you've been taught to think for so long. So where we try to, work with this type of thinking and to bring it back to the middle zone or the gray area is considering other options, right? So that looks like CBT work, cognitive behavioral therapy work. And I'll go ahead and pull up a cognitive behavioral worksheet, black and white thinking. Now, if you're the type of person that's like proactive about your mental health, you could totally do this on your own. But if you like, working with a coach or a therapist to kind of help and guide you for to do this type of work, it could be beneficial for you. So black and white thinking worksheet. Cognitive distortions are thinking errors that all people are prone to having. But when you grow up in a religious cult, it's really pervasive and it's really dominant. So that type of thinking can get ingrained into you at a very early age or since birth. Okay, some other examples of black and white thinking, right? Are let's see. So I'm not good enough if I don't get the job. Then you internalize those messages and then it can cause anxiety or depression. I'm lazy if I don't exercise 5 days a week, right? I'm weak if I can't stick to healthy eating 100% of the time. If a friend doesn't call me back within an hour, they don't care about me. Okay, so what we do when we find the gray area is we think about alternative options. Okay, so black and white thought. If a friend doesn't call me within an hour, they don't care about me. So that is a very extreme type of black and white thought, right? You're not considering other options, and that can cause a lot of mental health issues. So how we change that is we reframe the thought and we consider other alternatives. There are many other reasons my friend might not be able to call me back right now, and I don't know for sure if it relates to how much they care. So that person could be just a type of person that just doesn't look at their phone, or maybe they fell asleep, or maybe they, you know, got caught up in something. So when you consider the gray area and those other alternatives, you kind of rewire your brain. But this takes a lot of practice and a lot of work, especially if you're more on the severe end and you're more prone to this very type of black and white thinking. Sometimes you have to like stop yourself, like, and be like, hey, like, tell yourself, right? No, like we're going to consider other options right now. Because when you don't consider the gray, it can impede you. Sorry, I don't know. I don't know if that's the right word. It can prevent you from having long-term relationships and from flourishing in your career and from making connections. So that is the type of work that therapists do when they are implementing CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. It's like the go-to type of therapy for people when they are prone to cognitive distortions. So that's what I want to go over today. If you found this helpful, or if you want to go ahead and chat me, um, if you want to have a conversation with me about growing up in a religious cult, if you want to talk about your experience being raised in the Iglesia Cristo, if you notice that you are prone to this type of thinking, and you've experienced like anxiety or depression, feel free to email me and we can have a conversation. Or if you want to meet through Zoom, that's also an option too. But yeah, I just thought that I would do this because I feel like a lot of ex-members of the Iglesia Cristo suffer from this type of thinking, and it can really, really hinder you from reaching your potential in life and finding fulfillment with friends and your career and all those types of things. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.